All right, Chaz, welcome back. Isn't it nice I mean, look,
Man,
we're days late, but isn't it nice to get DMs from people wondering where we were?
I mean, I love the community. I love the care and concern that maybe you and I drove off a cliff accidentally, and people just need to check in.
I do appreciate that. Well, the reality is, we tried to record at the end of last week while you were finishing your trip in Morocco. We had technical difficulties, mainly Wi Fi related. So we gave it our best shot. We gave up 5 or 10 minutes in. So here we are on Monday, back on American soil.
I feel though, 5 or 10 minutes in of actually trying to record, but it was a solid 30 to 45 minutes in of really sweating it, trying to do the work for the people.
On a final night, Friday evening, final night of your vacation, no less, which is a real commitment.
That's how much I care, David Lee Scales, and that's how much you care too.
How does that go with your family? Are they happy to get rid of you, or are they sad to see you carve out an hour?
I think they're always happy to get rid of me, to be quite frank and honest.
I know it's what a lot of young men don't anticipate about married life later. Is like you go golfing or you go surfing or whatever, and they're like, "Wow, your wife lets you get away." You're like, "Bro, no,
She
it's the
wants
opposite of that." She
exactly.
she tried to buy me golf clubs 10 years ago to get me out of the house. I just wasn't interested.
It's so true. It is so true. Absence, in fact, does make the heart grow fonder, even if that absence is only an hour and a half.
Exactly. Well, welcome home. How did, first of all, apparently you got sick. So let's talk about your travel first, and then we'll go back to the end of the trip.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was great. Phenomenal trip. I think sickness, especially, this is the first time I had been back to Greater Middle East, to the Islamic world, North Africa, in quite some time, and the first time I'd ever done it with family. And so I think that stomach bug kind of stuff is inevitable, right? So I'm happy that the entire family got to experience that part of the journey.
Did they all get it at the same time?
No, it was progressive, and it's funny on those kinds of sicknesses where people really try to suss out where it came from, right? Like, because a couple things here. Obviously, it could have been anything, right? It could be food related. It could be somebody could have got a bug that was passed around. The fact that it went progressively through the entire family makes me think it was some kind of, I don't know, bug. So two went down after we had a meal in Marrakesh. Two woke up that night independently, staying in different rooms, but two of the family, sister-in-law and older daughter, woke up at midnight and spent the night running back and forth to the bathroom. Uh, the daughter or sister-in-law, I think it lingered for however many days, and then I can't remember who, but it was like dominoes after that. But everybody had like different versions. I just felt pretty crappy and only had one puke, and then I was back on the horse after that. And then young daughter had like a day of 30 pukes, but was back on the horse after that.
That you hope that it is staggered if you're in a hotel or somewhere where there's only one bathroom, because if you have two or three people needing the bathroom at a moment's notice, that is recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. And young daughter and I were the only ones who had to split bathroom, but also ours was staggered. So she was done by her with her puking by the time I did mine.
It's so funny, the immediate desire to want to point the finger of blame at someone or something, try to figure out, of course, what meal you got it from. I guess it's natural because you want to be able to prevent doing it again. But you're right, at certain parts of the world, it's almost a foregone conclusion. If you're on a 2 week trip, you're going to get sick.
It's inevitable. It is what it is, and you just brace for it and you take it as part of the experience. You don't be mad about it. You don't get upset. You don't blame anyone or anything. You just, it's part of the joy. You ride it out.
Do you bring Pepto Bismol or any sort of anything, any precautions or
Nope.
something to help you get through?
Nope. And the wife thankfully did. She brought charcoal. Have you ever taken charcoal?
I've heard of people doing it, but no, I haven't.
Man, I feel that. So once I started feeling bad, I just started eating charcoal like it was a meal. And I feel that's how I went in and out so quick. It was just like soaked up everything possibly bad, and then I was through it.
Does it make you vomit, charcoal?
Nope. It theoretically, I think it soaks up bad stuff. So
Okay.
I think bad stuff binds to it, and then off you go.
You just take like a briquette,
Yeah, it's just like I wish, just sitting there gnawing, just charcoal drooling down your chin.
black teeth,
Yep.
accidentally got the flammable one.
Yeah, I was, oh man, I lit my mouth on fire again.
Well, the last we spoke on air was when you were in Marrakesh before the surf portion of your trip. So give me the update on the surf portion.
So the surf portion went to a small town called Imosane, which is about a 4 to 5 hour drive away from Marrakesh, south. I think it's about an hour north of Agadir. I can't remember where it is in relation to Tagazout, close to Tagazout, where our dear Ramzi Boukhayem hails from. And Imosane grew up purely, it was a small fishing village, popped up just because there's the longest wave in Africa is there. And obviously, I realized calling it a surf trip was mislabeling it, right? It was a adventure trip that happened to have a surf portion because obviously going to Morocco off season, right? Everybody's like, dude, why are you going to Morocco in the non-surf season? And it was because we wanted to go to Morocco. And if you're going to be in Morocco, why don't you go surf? And so got basically skunked. It was like 1 foot. But did Devin Howard proud. Got on I think I was riding a 10.6 log. And yeah, could see, I mean, this wave. So stayed at a place called the O Experience, which for anyone who wants to go is absolutely amazing. It's right overlooking, it's a point, and it runs down the line. You could see how absolutely perfection it would be if it was working. But I had fun even in the knee-high log wave, just cruising down the line, Waikiki style. And daughter had a ton of fun. It was funny. Went out a couple times as a family. Older daughter loves to longboard anyway, and I think she feels bad about that. But she shouldn't feel bad. That's what the heart wants, what the heart wants. And so I was paddling out and watching her, on just a 1 foot runner, just with the biggest smile on her face. And I was like, this is just heaven right here. Like, I don't need perfect waves. This is as good as it gets in terms of my emotional feeling right now. And then, so paddling out one day, so older daughter likes longboarding. Wife hates longboarding. So she's just out there gritting her teeth the whole time. Hates it even when she catches a wave. Just doesn't like longboarding. Younger daughter also hates longboarding to the point where she won't paddle out a longboard. So paddled out I think it was like a 5'9", 5'10" Chili. They had it at the resort, just a shorty. It had a little more volume, but so I was like, you're going to catch absolutely nothing out there, but you do you, right? I understand and appreciate the hatred of longboarding so much that you refuse to even touch one. So I was paddling back out after one long wave, and I saw a set. It was like the only set of the entire trip. And it was pretty packed out there, right? It's like a real surf schooly place. Come learn to surf here, which when you're on a longboard I realized is so much fun because it adds the challenge of weaving around people getting pushed into waves. And, there's no animosity. There's no anger. This is obviously not the day of days. This is not even a day. And so it provides fun. But there was one set I was paddling out and saw like somebody's going to actually get lucky. And I saw a little blonde head pop up, and it was young daughter on her Chili, caught the only wave of the entire trip, and was just, cruising down the line on her shortboard.
That's got to be such a great feeling.
It really was. I was like, that's what you get. You got smiled upon because you refused to longboard.
Well, also her like growing up and battling for waves in Southern California. Southern California hostility and aggression put her in the position to get that wave too.
She was, again, there was one wave I think we were there for 5 days. There was one wave and she caught it on a shortboard.
That's so funny.
Yep.
How much of a priority or an expectation is getting barreled when you go on a surf trip?
I think any other time it would be. See, this is what we've talked about it a lot. Like, should you even do a family surf trip? Should you even do a surf trip with your significant other? Because it adds, if the waves are good, all of a sudden there's this eggy pressure, right? And I felt this eggy pressure is snowboarding. So when we've done plenty of family snowboard trips, and if it's dumping, especially the wife, I'll just see her start to itch the night before. And the next morning it is family be damned. She will kick us so hard to the curb and be gone, right? Like, But you just, and I'm never mad about that. I'm like, great, this is totally what you do. You should do that. You should prioritize, getting first track powder over gearing up, the kids. And on a surf trip, if it was pumping, I would have felt the same way. I would have been like, goodbye, everyone. I'm out there. Everyone deal with yourselves. So I almost am glad when it stinks when you're on a family surf trip, just because, again, I felt all kinds of surfing joy without riding any good wave.
Yeah, those experiences that you described are equally, at my age, 44, having surfed for 30 years, those are equally as good to me as getting a barrel on my own.
I mean, 100%. The happiness, the pure, and not to use a silly word, David Lee Scales, but the stoke I felt watching older daughter and younger daughter happy on waves was, I would have taken that over being barreled myself.
Yeah, I agree with you. The older daughter longboarding, you said that you actually longboarded too while you were
Yeah.
there?
Yeah. I was not about to pretend to paddle out on anything other. They had a glider there and I should have taken the glider.
Yeah.
But there was so many surfy schools that I thought I need some kind of, way to carve around them.
So I'm glad because you've been threatening to attempt longboarding for probably 6 months now. So it's high time. And one thing though that I will say I love about whenever I do ride, maybe the glider more than the longboard actually, is with that much board in the water and on that small of a wave, you really feel what trim is, and by trim is a specific thing, but in addition to it, or it represents also the board design locking in to a portion of the wave the way that it's meant to be ridden, basically. So you have this giant long board and it'll lock in. Like you see this tiny little wave and there's really only like one path on that wave that'll actually get you down to the next section. And that board, especially a glider, is able to find that one little ripple of a path. And when you lock in and you feel the propulsion of it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the feeling that I'm looking for. When I'm riding a 6-foot shortboard and the waves are maybe bigger, I'm often not in the right position on the wave and I'm trying to overcompensate for it with my own ability level. But when you lock in on those tiny moments, you realize what you should be doing on the other moments,
That's what I was trying to convince wife of, is stop hating the longboard and embrace longboard life. Devin Howard would have just been so proud of me. There's a reason in Deer North Shore that, what was the shaper's name? Chandler. That Chandler, that I feel that we have all jumped the longboarding step. I jumped the longboarding step, right? I went straight from not surfing to riding a twin fin shortboard to, I think a Nev potato chip was probably the first actual board I ever bought. So missed all of that longboarding stuff. How great. We should all do the longboarding thing. We should all start on longboards.
Well, I'm going to go a step further and go back to the glider because the longboard, it depends what kind of longboard you're riding, but the longboard adds more rocker. It's wider. It has like a rounder nose. It allows you to turn depending on what kind it is. And so now you're doing things other than just trying to find that trim line.
The pocket. Yeah.
Yeah. When you're on like literally an ankle high wave, there's only one path to success, And so a glider really helps you get in early and find that path. It finds the path on its own almost, and you just have to stand there for the ride. But when you lock into it, it feels amazing. And again, you can then try to translate that to other things. Once you get on a longboard, you do start to try to dance a little bit.
And I will say, I mean, my longboard, it was a 10.6. It was so much foam that I wasn't even trying to do anything other than, and you're exactly right, there was one place you had to be on the wave. I had one wave that, and again, it's tiny, but I had one wave that I rode it felt like minutes, right? Like where my thighs were hurting, but it was like micro adjustments of just staying in the pocket, because anywhere other than that, I would have, either would have lost momentum. And so that became its own pleasure, right? Of how well can I micro stay exactly where I need to stay right now?
Yeah. So while we're, praising that style of surfing, the reality is it gets boring really quickly too.
Yeah.
So if you did that, you could do that for like an hour a day on this trip, break up all the other activities that you're doing, the sightseeing. That'd be a great 1 hour exercise to do for a day, 1 hour a day, only for about 5 days.
Yeah.
On the sixth day, you might be too bored to even do that.
No, exactly. But that also feels good, right? I don't like the pressure of, oh, I've got to go surf now. Like, felt good of just staring at the wave. I mean, again, the O experience for anyone who is looking for a Morocco surf trip, that place would, I guess it just pumps. I saw pictures, and it's still a longboardy wave, and the dude who started, Hamid, started it. I think he was the first one there, and Imogene has grown up. You know, it's basically one of those surf pop-up villages now, right? It exists more or less for that wave, but I think he was the one who pioneered it and is a real purist. I think even Joel Tudor has gone too far for their style of like, he's too much now. You know, we need to, they're real longboarding purists, especially at that spot. But it's a beautiful wave, great food at like they have a chef there that cooks amazing meals, and yeah, just small and a really, really, really neat place.
Sounds amazing. That's on my list for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I guess moving on now. The Oi, I don't know, is it still called Oi? No, Vivo, I think, Rio Pro is now currently wrapping up for the day. It ran most of the day. They put it on hold, and it looked like they might run the quarterfinal or the semifinals and on. But it looks like as of right now, they're going to go to a post show in about 10 minutes, and then maybe we'll have finals day tomorrow.
I tried to catch up. I watched absolutely none of that while on the road. I tried to catch up before getting on the air today, just to have something to say about it. And it seemed like the waves are okay. Yeah.
They're definitely okay for Sakurama, but it's not. Yeah, for what it is. The first day or two that they ran, it was actually big. The last day or two has been like chest high, so it's a lot less exciting. Everybody's surfing great. The real story coming out of this is just the major upsets. Like Matt McGillivray took out Gabriel Medina in one of the opening rounds. Joao Chianca took out Griffin Colapinto. Kaeli Voss took out Italo. Callum Robson took out Felipe Toledo, which is a shocker.
How? I didn't watch any of those heats. How did that go down? Was it just the upstarts, or not the upstarts, but the non-favorites were just surfing better, catching better waves?
Yeah. So basically, it's a beach break, and it's a little bit, has like a kind of a dumpy end section. So you can only really get 2 turns off. And so it's a matter of who kind of gets the better wave that can do 2 powerful turns. Some people are going for an air, but it has to be a gnarly air nowadays. Like people are doing kind of a full rote air and get like a 6. You know, it has to be like a really crazy air. So yeah, it's kind of like Matt McGillivray doing 2 power turns. Again, Callum Robson, 2 big power moves, gets him an 8. And so Felipe tries to go to the air and doesn't do the craziest air he's ever done in his life. So he gets a 6 for it.
Do you think that the Brazilian contingent, particularly I suppose Italo and Felipe, have so much pressure that they put on themselves to perform in front of home audience that they blow it out?
No. I mean, I don't know. They've performed in those experiences 1,000 times before. So I don't think that they'd be buckled by the pressure of it necessarily. I think, things operate in their favor so often that I guess at some point it's going to operate in the other person's favor. And in those examples that I gave, Robson, McGillivray, they stacked 2 8s, and they happen to get Gabriel in a heat where he didn't.
I was looking through the rankings. It's a really weird year this year. It's like bizarre. Who's down, who's up. I mean, the Leonardo Fioravanti's potential, I mean, he could end this event number 1 in the world.
He's still in the event. So that's a major storyline. His surfing coming off of the big win in El Salvador, which I really feel like there's occasionally a surfer who unites the community in everybody rooting for them. Mm-hmm. Jordy Smith, when he starts making a run at a title, everybody's thrilled for Jordy. They're like, I hope Jordy does it, because we've all been Jordy fans for so long. I feel like Leonardo Fioravanti is that guy. He's got nobody who's a naysayer.
I totally agree, and think that unlike Jordy as well, I think everyone knows when Jordy starts making a run that he's not actually going to arrive at the finish line, right? There's a
Well, we've been burned so many times.
exactly, and I'm sure Jordy feels that too, right? So you have this, I don't know, I would imagine he feels that the little devil on his shoulder, whispering in his ear, saying, "The wheels are going to fall off. It's just a matter of time, Big Jordan." I feel Fioravanti doesn't have that. I feel he's kind of coming in now to, or not coming into, but is right in the middle of his competitive prime. He's got ticks all the boxes for what it takes to win on the 2026 iteration of the World Championship Tour, right? He can serve power, he can get barreled, he charges, and he has enough progression where he can keep up with the flicky Brazilians.
So I was thinking, can he help redefine the surfer stereotype? Because he is such a pleasure to hear in his post-heat interviews. He's a pleasure to watch in the water and out of the water. He's almost like a James Bond-esque surfer, the most James Bond-esque surfer that we've ever known. He speaks, I forget how many, I want to say 7 different languages, but that could be Kanoa Igarashi. He at least speaks 4.
I mean, he definitely speaks Italian, French, English. He's probably got some Portuguese in there.
Spanish.
Spanish. It's all, yeah, he's got the Romance languages fairly dialed, I'm sure. All of them. Yeah, he's
So,
handsome.
yeah, furthermore, lived from Rome, lived in France, he's lived in California, so he's worldly, great supermodel good looks and physique, by the way, intelligent. He's the opposite of Spicoli, is kind of what I'm saying, but also in presentation, self-presentation, the opposite of Gabriel and Italo as well, because there's a reservedness and like a real sophistication to it.
But he also doesn't feel like a product. He's like well spoken, also though opinionated, right? He is not shy to share what he feels about this, that, or the other thing. It doesn't feel like he's part of a World Surf League machine, just churning out a, this is what you say in a post-heat interview. This is, blah, blah, blah. He's not. He doesn't bore me at all.
At all. He's a pleasure. Like, that's the thing is, like, I rally behind him because he's kind of the underdog. I like going for the underdog. But then when I actually am forced to listen to him in a post-heat interview or whatever else, it's a pure pleasure. I'm like, this guy's fantastic. He posts something on Instagram. I'm like, curious, like, what did he eat while he was in Italy? What did their wedding look like? What was the venue like? Like, he's interesting to me. So I said, can he redefine surfing stereotype? That's probably, I don't know that there is like one stereotype anymore, but I think that while Kelly Slater was a good, Sean Thompson was a great figurehead for the sport. Kelly Slater became a great figurehead for the sport. I feel like Leonardo is the next in line.
I would feel too, like, it does feel like, obviously, all the crazy political polarization and stuff notwithstanding, it does feel like the world is becoming, or has been, internet and blah, 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 way more global. And it feels like Leonardo is the perfect global ambassador, right? Kelly Slater was very much Californian, or not Californian, sorry, very much American. I feel that, Mick Fanning, like, there's been very Australian, American. Sean Thompson didn't necessarily feel South African, but that was a different surf time. But I feel that Leonardo feels very global, feels very World Cup soccer.
100%. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm thrilled to see that he's still in this event, because my other criticism or concern with him is whenever we see a late stage breakthrough from somebody, it's generally not sustained.
Yep.
Like, they either come in like Gabriel Medina did as a junior with a bunch of potential and they deliver on that potential and they dominate for a long period of time. But you don't see somebody who's been on tour for 10 years win an event and then continue doing it. They'll have a breakthrough event like that, but then they kind of flounder back to their normal position. So to see him do it, we've seen Miguel Pupo do it this year too, coming out at the beginning of I think he won the very first event, but he's maintained that top 5 positioning, which I wasn't anticipating either. So like you said, totally different shake up to the rankings this year. Everything is topsy-turvy. It's been interesting.
Does a couple more thoughts on this. If Leonardo Fioravanti comes out number 1 after this event, man, it's stacked well for him the rest of the year, right? He shreds Chopu. I think, I don't know what it does at Fiji typically, but I would think that he'll be fine at Fiji. And then Pipe, he's pretty good too.
He's made the finals at Pipe, from what I remember.
Yeah.
But the only issue is that the other contenders in that top five zone have won those events before.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it'll be a dogfight. The one last surprise is the steep decline and fall of Griffin Colapinto.
Why? Did you have him on your fantasy team?
No, I don't do fantasy, David Lee Scales. Do you?
I don't mean fantasy. I meant survival.
I know I got kicked out of who did me dirty survival. I got booted last event in Salvador by someone who. No, I had Connor O'Leary, I think.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So Griffin Colapinto, definitely not maintaining his position or delivering on his potential this year, for sure. Nor Crosby, by the way.
Do you think part of Griffin's problem is high school style Instagram posts featuring his young girlfriend?
I do, actually. I think
His
that's
head
exactly
ain't in the game. He's having too much fun playing kissy face.
I'm going to blame all the American. I'm going to point the fingers directly at all of our young American surfers because on the men's side, I should say, because on the women's side, they are delivering. But on the men's side, yeah, they need to focus. I don't know what they're doing, dude.
I mean, I know what Griffin Colapinto makes it very clear what he's doing.
Exactly. He's not
playing spanky bottom.
Playing footsies and spanky bottom. So Griffin's in 12th. The next American on tour would be Crosby, who's in 19th, and then Cole Houshman, or Jake Marshall, 23rd. Cole Houshman, 25th, and he's won this event before.
Is Cole Houshman going to fall off tour, you think, this year?
I don't know, man. I mean, at 25th position,
That's
yes,
low.
he could.
Yeah, that's bad. That is a bad position to be in.
Yeah, so American boys not doing it. The other, though, I was talking about upsets. The other major upset is on the women's side. Taya Zabrowski, 15 years old, had all this hype behind her coming into this season and really hasn't quite delivered on it until now. But in this event, she has taken out Stephanie Gilmore, Lakey Peterson, and Carissa Moore.
That's a murder's row right there in terms of competitive prowess at the very least. And especially an informed Carissa. Man, Carissa is the story. I mean, if Carissa pulls number one at the end of the year, that will be one of the greatest competitive surfing stories of all time, I reckon.
Do you want to hear a phone call about Carissa Moore?
Yes, please.
Hey, just calling in with a little tour talk observation on freaking Carissa Moore showing up everybody, being clutch all year and like actually bringing progression. I mean, needing something big, going to the air, doing the air, stomping it. Not the craziest air in the world, but whatever happened to the new generation coming in and like cleaning house and doing big airs and like pushing the sport to the next level. That's like all we thought about in the lead up to this year. Like, oh, it's just going to be a different women's tour. It looks pretty much the same. But Carissa Moore, the old vet, is showing up, blowing up, and like, I don't know. It's just wild. I thought that it would be a different go this year. I don't know. My 2 cents. Enjoy, boys. Thanks for the work. Yeah.
So he sent that email, or he sent that call in before this event started, where things have gotten shaken up and the younger girls are kind of on top now. But I think the point still remains.
And also, I feel, Stephanie Gilmore, unlike Stephanie, I will say, I think Carissa Moore has got tread on the tires still, right? I mean, Carissa could have another 3 dominant years.
Well, absolutely. I was not sure of that until this season, but she's proven that in this season. And the other thing is, going into the back half of the season, these are all events that, like, time in the water at Chopu matters going into this event. Time at Cloudbreak matters even more. She's experienced those waves probably more than anybody on tour. Maybe Caroline Marks and Tyler Wright would be, and Lakey maybe in consideration. But Carissa Moore would have a major advantage over the Taya Zabrowski. Actually, Taya, I should say, is from Chopu, so she has experience there. But elsewhere, Carissa Moore is more experienced.
Absolutely. And especially how to, surf those waves competitively. like
Yeah.
where to be, what to go on, the wrinkles, every bit of that. I mean, yeah, it's setting up nice for I would love to see a Carissa Moore title.
I agree with you. The importance of the story cannot be overstated, and we have not stated it yet, but she left tour to have a baby. She came back this season with baby on tour with her. And by the way, her husband operating as her coach for the first time in the El Salvador event. So a family affair.
Phenomenal all the way across. And also, I will say that yes, she left to have a baby, but she also left because the World Surf League was a piece of trash when she left. I think she is too classy to really air dirty laundries, but I think that's the subtext of why she left as well, right? Like the Final Five format absolutely robbing her of a title. And just the whole thing, I think she was like, this is not the professional surfing, that it's just not worth it. And then they thankfully changed the format and she's back.
Back and proving that she was right.
Yeah.
Proving that she has a rightful place. So yeah, I absolutely love to see it. Unfortunately, she's out of this event, but she'll be back.
Yep.
The other thing that is worth discussing, because I think people would expect us to have discussed it last week, is the Tyler Wright claim in El Salvador.
I didn't see that live. I was just 100% happy for that because it gave once the Green Room Times gets its teeth in a juicy one and does multiple posts, I laugh at each and every one of them.
So for the record, for anybody who's not on Instagram, in an event, I want to say it was the semifinals heat in El Salvador, she needed a score, and she surfed a wave to what she thought was the score. And in order to claim it, she pantomimes a sex act, an oral sex, a delivery of oral sex to a female, to the judges, basically, and the viewers. And it went by kind of not unnoticed, but undiscussed on the WSL's commentary.
Yeah, of course, obviously. Anything remotely interesting, they're not going to touch with an 80-foot pole.
Yeah, so then she posted it on Instagram, essentially to double down and amplify the claim, and put a rap song on it, a really crass rap song about said sex act, just verbally stating it out. And the caption read, "Happy Pride Month." And so she's out and proud and displaying oral sex acts as a claim, basically, for her surfing. The internet was immediately split into two camps, and I was interested to see who was in which camp and how fervent people are about the topic.
Discuss, because I've only gone down I read Derek's story, I think, and only went down the Green Room Times, just chuckling to myself about each one of their montages.
I would like to hear if they took a stance on it, but basically the way that
Green Room Times is just that it was absurd, right? Is what that it was A, silly to claim that wave, B, very silly to claim in that way.
So that was my initial offense, or what I considered an affront, was the fact that she was claiming a 6.43. Like if you're gonna do like your most hardcore and highly sexualized claim, save it for a 10-point ride, getting spit out at Chopu. Like doing a safety surfed 6.43 and then throwing that down, I felt was the biggest affront to me. But that aside, the way that the internet responded initially, I felt like was all anti. Like, hey, this is not classy. How dare you bring this into our sport? This is offensive. But the tide really shifted. Within a day or two, and a couple of meme accounts like the ones you mentioned, posting it and making fun, I felt like the general consensus was, we're thrilled to have somebody showcasing some amount of personality, basically.
I suppose so. The problem, I don't want to pile on here. I just think the problem with Tyler Wright, it's not a problem. I'm going to say the issue with Tyler Wright, her antenna, I've realized, is absolutely broken. Her public perception antenna is broken. And so she will go out and talk ad nauseum about whatever physical ailment she's suffering, in real, like, granular detail that nobody wants to hear, right? I mean, or at least I don't. I don't want to hear that, not just from her or from an athlete. I don't want to hear somebody come into a room and start really detailing, oh man, I have a stomach ache. And so like when I get a stomach ache, what happens is then like I get diarrhea. And my diarrhea is weird because my diarrhea like splashes and like and just start really.
You could have done that at the beginning of the show, and if you wanted to.
Absolutely, I've always, and maybe that's just me. Maybe the kind of decorum is we don't discuss. We're classy. We don't discuss gross things in granular ways. Where I feel she absolutely does that. I feel this claim is the same kind of thing. Of it just feels her, and maybe her public perception antenna is just broken in terms of the things in the qualities that I say, that's a classy thing. I just think you are very oddly classless. And I like that is your personality, I suppose, but aren't you reading the room? But maybe she's reading a different room. Maybe her room is all like, yes, we don't need to closet our physical ailments. We should put those on the laundry line and let them fly for everyone to see. The pride thing the Green Room Times compared her doing that with, remember when Mason Ho was shot out of a barrel and did the masturbatory claim, which I suppose if you like one, you have to like the other. But I mean, the problem is that Mason Ho got shot out of a giant. If Tyler Wright would have gotten shot out of a massive barrel and done that, I would have been like, great, bring it, right? But I mean, you've already touched on it. Doing it on a safety Circe 6.43 seems like no, honey.
So for the record, Mason Ho got fined for that, and the WSL never replayed the clip. They probably didn't replay the Tyler Wright clip either, but she did not get fined for it. And so there seems to be a double standard there, or the WSL's policy has changed. That's where I think that the interesting part of the conversation is if people are, I guess this isn't interesting because I was going to say if Mason Ho gets away with it because he's a male is allowed to perform the pantomime sex act and the female gets vilified and shamed for it. But what's interesting is we're in a society now where he got fined for it and vilified by the powers, the authorities anyways, and she is celebrated by it. So the times have really shifted.
Times have shifted, but it feels like the room is being read wrong by everyone, right? Because
the question that you posed is maybe I'm in the wrong room or she's in a different room. That's the way I feel after reading all the online commentary. I am in the wrong room and my room is the minority now. Because to me, this was very like unappealing. Like when I saw her do it, I was just like, gross.
It's crass.
It's crass. And I'm not saying gross because same-sex sex is gross. Not at all. That's not, no. It was just freaking gross. I was watching surfing. I wasn't expecting to see somebody mirroring oral sex.
I mean, I think it's a classic don't say gay dilemma here, right? Where I think you and I are perpetually trying to, the whole point of it is to kind of class up, right? To clean up the language, we don't need, references to balls all the time, or it's just like, we don't need that, right? Where I feel she rubbed this in everyone's face as something crass. I feel we live in very crass times already. We don't need to dump more crassness on the times.
I agree with all of that. Yes. And I think that there's a couple of other issues I think I've identified the more that I've thought about it, which is her caption was Happy Pride Month on that Instagram post. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Certainly can't speak for the LGBTQ plus community. However, this does kind of compress the community into something like this. That makes me feel like you're representing same sex as about sex, where I feel like the relationship or the dynamics should be much more diverse. It can't be simplified down into just a sex act, And I feel like your action of showcasing this broadly and then captioning it that way really does simplify it down into it's just a sex act.
I was like, I feel like I'm missing something here because I read something, and then I didn't do any further research, but I guess lesbian female athletes were doing this cross sport as like a statement, right? But I don't like, again, do we need this statement? I mean, I think that lesbian athletes are, dominate obviously the WNBA. I just don't think that, I mean, who am I to say you're not oppressed or whatever? Maybe that's what they feel. And they feel like, this is our rebel yell. This is you,
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
white male patriarchy. We're here, we're queer, we're in your face.
I have a hard time even discussing it negatively because it sounds like I am who you just said, white male patriarchy who has delicate sensibility, who can't handle the reality of gay people living in my world. And that's so not the way that I feel, but I have a hard time articulating why I just didn't think that was
Because it's crass. It's crass.
just crassness is all it is, I guess.
It's crass. Like and maybe this is a double standard for me. I felt Mason Hose was funny. Because Mason's funny, right? And what Mason does therefore is funny. But also that's like it's a Kenny Powers style thing, right? And maybe Kenny Powers is also jumped the shark at this point culturally, but that's what Mason's felt like to me. It was almost a mockery of that, whereas Tyler's felt very intentionally, look at me do this.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. You're right. There is something there for sure. There's a comedian telling an off-color joke, and then there's like a serious person who tries to push her ideology down our throats all the time, then making the off-color remark, Like,
I mean, Tyler, and again, I don't want to pile on because I feel that you and I are both sitting here as cis white males discussing out lesbian and what she should or shouldn't do, or how she should or shouldn't act, which is exactly 100% the wrong thing for us to be doing. But I just think it's crass, and we already have so much. I mean, Donald Trump, I'm sick of his crassness nonstop, right? Like, just the crassness of conversation. I hate it when Gavin Newsom does it too, right? Like that everything has been so debased. Our conversation is so debased right now, of all caps, misspellings, dropping F-bombs in tweets or X posts or whatever. All of this is just like, no, we don't need more of that. We need Tyler Wright to class up. We don't need her to jump in the gutter and be like, la, 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 la.
Don't do that. So I would never tell her what she can and can't do. Obviously, everybody's entitled to their own freedom of self-expression. All of my criticisms come from what you should do for you. Like, I feel like I have some sort of a read on Tyler, what she wants. She wants to grow her career. She wants to win more titles. She wants to grow her fan base. She wants to blah, blah, blah. So that's how I try to filter things, or my commentary is filtered through, is like, I don't know that you're operating in your own best interest by doing this. And I think that you are right in that this is their rebel yell. This is and by them, I mean lesbian professional athletes. This is a way of them saying, F you to anybody who's ever told us to shut up or to be quiet. This is kind of the most crass thing that we can do in this moment to put a stamp on this performance that we just did, and we're going to force you to witness it, basically. But I'm just saying, I think that it's not going to have the impact that you think, and you're going to offend more than you are ingratiate. And there's a much deeper, more meaningful conversation that you could be having to further your cause.
Even if you don't offend, you're just going to turn off. Like when Tyler, it just felt, and I don't like to use the word because I feel it's absolutely played out, but it felt really cringy. It was just like, it made me cringe, literally, in the literal sense of the cringe word. When I saw that, I cringed. I was like, oh. Tyler,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, I did too. But apparently we are wrong because, like I said, the tides have turned, and I've seen, or maybe it's just that those who do support it are willing to be more vocal in the comments section as the tide turns, and that becomes the majority. It's easier to kind of jump in and share your thought that's in line with the majority. But it seems to be a consensus of people that loved it from Tyler.
I mean, again, though, I would have felt a lot differently if she would have got spit out of a giant chopu barrel, like behind the spit, just poof, and then done that. I would have said, great. You know, that's a stamp right there. Doing it on a stupid little El Salvador wave feels wasted.
That goes back to an original conversation that we've settled about claims long, long ago, which is if it's the only result of the emotion coming out of your body is this physical expression that you're not even controlling, which usually happens being blown out of a 10-foot wave, and you just emote that way, then it's acceptable. If it is pre-designed, which this was because other athletes were doing it,
pre-designed, and
then you're trying to juice the score out of the judges, now it's not acceptable. And so that those two check marks against it or were already in place, and then the crassness of it made it additionally bad.
Absolutely. But man, one more note here that I think is interesting. Did you want to, aside from all of the claim and activity, did that clip being played, at least on meme over and over again, make you consider the wetsuit pant more seriously than you might have ever considered it before?
I've been in consideration of the wetsuit pant for about the last 18 months. So no, that had nothing to do with it. About 8 years ago, I thought it was only for females. And then in the last 2 years, I've realized, no, it is the domain of the male as well. So I've been in consideration of it. I've heard rave reviews, and obviously it's great for sun protection. But I've been in equatorial surf locations in the last couple of years, and I didn't have a problem with my board shorts. My legs did not get burned. The board shorts were comfortable. So I'm not going to be doing it for myself.
You're not wetsuit panting. Can you envision a scenario where you would don the wetsuit pant?
So, by the way, I don't think those were actually wetsuit pants. I think they were just the wetsuit or the rash guard pant.
You don't think they were wet? You don't think they were 2 mil, 1 mil?
I don't think they were neoprene.
Okay.
Because Florence Marine X does a hydro tight is what they call it.
Okay, a hydro tight. Okay, where would you wear a hydro tight?
El Salvador.
Okay, just because it's cooking hot.
Yeah.
And you want your legs, you don't want the chafe. Don't want wax chafe.
Yeah, so on the last couple of El Salvador listener trips that we've done, phenomenal surfer from Santa Barbara County came with us, and he was decked out. It was like before Florence even introduced him, so I'm not sure where he got his, but he had the wetsuit pant or rash guard pant.
We should call them rash guard pants, I suppose. Wetsuit pant is.
He had rash guard pant with the hooded rash guard, with trunks on over the rash guard pant, just to save us that, and or maybe save himself a little bit of dignity. And then, so the only thing that was exposed were his hands, a little bit of his face and his feet. And then he had his face completely, sun blocked. So the point is limited sun exposure. And, if you do happen to get rashes from your trunks, eliminates that as well. And he raved by it. And he would surf midday, full sun, never got sunburned at all throughout the trip. So that's what really clued me into it. And then Florence started doing it, and Nathan is wearing them on his tropical travels. So if you're concerned about burn, obviously they do their job, or rash, they do their job. But like I said, I wear trunks and I don't get rashes, and I wear enough sunblock to not get burned. And my sunblock nowadays is not slippery like it used to be. So I don't really have a need for the hydro type.
Have you, does anyone do a full body, basically a rash guard wetsuit like a jumper?
I don't know of one, and I don't know that there'd be a reason to do one.
Well, you'd think if you're wearing both the pants and the shirt combo, that at some point you're going to wipe out or whatever, and maybe your shirt comes up, and you could solve all those issues by wearing a jumper.
One piece.
Yeah, a one piece.
A one piece, like you can even put feet on it at that point. Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. And gloves. If you're worried about you could do a full romper.
Look, if Florence does it and Nathan wears it, people will buy it.
I mean, Pat O'Connell, if you're listening, gold in them Nar Hills.
You're welcome. Would you ever wear the Hydrotight?
No, but I will say, so this Morocco surf trip, I forgot that Morocco, or I didn't forget, I knew, but Morocco's basically, or where we were surfing is basically California early summer temperatures. So it's, and the wind can come up. So it's like 2 mil, 3-2 style. You can fully trunk it if you want. Older daughter's boyfriend was there. He opted to trunk, and you know, that first surf when you're in trunks and you forget, and you just get especially if you're riding a longboard, you just get the inside thigh just shredded. And you're like, oh man. I was like, he did that. I wore a wetsuit, an epic wetsuit from Crooked Wetsuits, Japanese neoprene, which was as fine a wetsuit as I've ever worn. But yeah, had that on and realized, wow, there's something really to the 3-2 surf trip. Is the 3-2, you move in it easily, and it solves all the rest of your problems. You don't worry about sunburn. You don't worry about any chafing. You don't worry about anything. I enjoy surfing in a 3-2, weirdly.
So this is a hot take, but we are at a point where I prefer a wetsuit as well.
It's weird. Isn't it weird? Like,
well,
I love
the wetsuits are just so
feeling.
good.
I know. I love the naked feeling of going out just in trunks, you know, like the duck dive under a warm wave where you just feel you're just back in, you know, Mother Nature's womb style. You never get that when you're in the wetsuit. But the 3-2s are so good now. Like the Crooked wetsuit I had was Japanese neoprene. It was so thin and so perfect that I was like, I feel just like I'm not wearing any wetsuit anyway, except I get all the benefits of a wetsuit. No, you know, rash, no wax sticking to my chest, none of the, you know, downers of the trunk surf session.
It's a little bit of protection. It's also, it swaddles you like a baby.
Yeah.
The tightness and the snugness of it just feel, for whatever reason, it's like that's maybe because that's how I learned how to surf forever, was wearing wetsuits. It just feels more natural to me now.
And the wetsuit technology, the way it is,
Yeah.
of just like movement, like, I mean, I feel like I'm even more flexible when I put on a wetsuit these days.
It's really weird.
Yep.
Yeah. Shall we do a pros in the wild?
Yes, please.
Man, I just feel like we talked about Tyler Wright way too long today.
I know. Sorry, everyone.
I mean, sometimes I realize my regret in real time. Often it comes the next day, but sometimes it's in real time and I'm just like, God, I'm looking at it's 52 minutes in. I'm like, did we just talk about Tyler for like 20 minutes?
20, but I feel it was an important, broader cultural discussion about decorum.
She's just so annoying, dude.
She's really, really, really annoying. There's some people that are just like that. And you realize, like, I don't know. I love that we're still talking about her. I don't know what it is, but she really rubs me the wrong way. And I think she rubs a lot of people the wrong way. And then I'm frustrated at myself because I'm like, I'm just being a basic sheep like everyone else, because everyone's that I know is rubbed the wrong way by her. Why can't I think, that's cool. She's like punk rock because she's rubbing people the wrong way.
She duped us into playing the role we were meant to play.
I know. That's what I'm mad about. That's exactly it.
We are taking the exact stance that she was hoping we would take when she did that move, and then we spent 20 minutes talking about it, doubling down on the stance.
Good job, Tyler.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Foiled again by Tyler Wright. All I can do is just hope she loses in this next event.
Yep.
Payback. Okay, pro in the wild. Let me see a little bit of preamble here. Hey, David, hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for the tireless work. Pros in the wild I've been sitting on for years and decided to send it this week. It's a bit long, but it marks an important anniversary is what I will say. Labor Day, 1998, Amsterdam to San Francisco. I board a blue KLM bird hungover from 10 days of long summer nights in Amsterdam. And as I sort out my patch of cabin for the next 15 hours, I look up and I recognize a face and I blurt out way too loud, "Wingnut!" He smiles, makes small talk, looks faintly concerned, stuck next to a fanboy for an entire ocean. He introduces me to the rest of his crew, Big Bird, Jaybird, Code Red, all as worn out as I am. Wingnut deftly steers Dave, quote, Big Bird Schmidt, into a seat beside me, and takes Dave's spot up front, effectively switching seats so that Wingnut didn't have to sit next to me. At this point, I was 2 years into my surf life, barely past full kook, solidly Barney. I'd inhaled every surf mag and video, including Longboard magazine, Wingnut's Search for the Soul, and Endless Summer 2. While my curiosity was peaking, I shrank down and decide the dignified move was to remain silent for the rest of the flight. I fake read Into Thin Air, which is the name of the book, while my head is out at Ocean Beach in Santa Cruz. Half an hour later, a soft hiss from the middle seat, 2 blue-gray eyes and a grin in the gap between the headrests. Hey, how do you like that book? I actually just finished it and I loved it. I look back to see it's Jay Moriarty. And with that one question, he gives me the chance to redeem myself. As we chat, the mood in our rows relaxes, and a little while later, everyone dozes off. Somewhere over the Hudson Bay, Jay, Dave, and Cody tell me all about their O'Neill promo tour through Europe. Good waves across the Basque Country, epic waves in Portugal, and one sorry last stop in the Netherlands. We say goodbye and vibes are high as we pick up our bags, all thanks to Jay, who chose to save one more kook that summer. I had seen Jay many more times at Pleasure Point, always smiling and sharing good vibes with everyone. I figured he'd long forgotten my particular Pros in the Wild sighting. Now there's a new timestamp for me to read. Midweek, January 2000, Princeton by the Sea, Northwest 14 at 17. OB's too big, Pacifica's closed out, Montaro has no shape. We drift further south to check Ross's Cove, the soft left with a deep channel that shares a dirt lot and a lookout over Mavericks. Walking up, we spot a cluster of heavies. Beanies pulled over their eyes, black hoods over the beanies. I spot Sean Rhodes and Flea by stature alone, and from the cadence of their goatees and flavor savers, I can tell that they're talking crap about us. 30 yards and thick air, then a hand goes up. Hey, you're that Dutch guy, right? Turns out Jay Moriarty was there too. He walks over and says hi. The other charters drift back to the lot, give us a begrudging nod, and we walk back with Jay, talking wave conditions and cracking jokes, into the fold again that pesky Jay guy brought me. Now, June 2001, 25 years ago, and 2 days after Jay's drowning. Me and many of Jay's close crew had all signed up weeks ago to volunteer at a surf camp ran by one of the firemen captains and lifeguards who Jay was training with. His close friends were obviously wrecked, but at the same time, they showed up and lifted each other's spirits, sharing how lucky they were that our lives had all been brushed at all by Jay's. Frosty, Zoof, Danny Cortazo, and Mike Gerhard traded stories in front of the volunteers, watershed eyes everywhere. I was wise enough to keep quiet, and I left committed to try to be a little bit more like Jay every day. With love and still committed. Keep work, Dutch.
Dutch, love every word of that. And man, isn't that great? The legends who are actually legends and live on, the best. Like, I've never heard or read one negative word about Jay. Which is, certainly gone too soon, but what a legacy.
Absolutely. As I mentioned at the beginning of the email, he said, Dutch, who sent the email, said that he's wanted to send this for years, but he actually waited because this month marks the 25th anniversary of his drowning. So he's trying to time it with that. So I thought that's also poignant.
Thank you, Dutch, very much for sharing. Love it. Love that the community gets that experience through you. Thanks for not keeping it yourself. Also, the whole live like Jay thing, right? I feel that live like blank can be overused when it's somebody who maybe was a great athlete, or something, but maybe not a phenomenal person otherwise. Where again, didn't know Jay, but seems like every part about him his life was exemplary.
Every report, yeah, for sure, has been that. And obviously they've made movies about him as well. So I think that verifies that fact. If we did a ranking of the greatest surf magazine cover shots of all time, I don't know that we could come up with a better one than this Jay Moriarty Surfer magazine cover.
It's so fun. Like even you, when I hear the word Jay Moriarty, this is the picture in my mind. And I don't think I have another, maybe the Laird Hamilton, oh my gosh cover, but I have very few. My memory is poor to begin with. But this one, I mean, I just don't know how you can get better than that.
The Laird Hamilton Millennium Wave cover was groundbreaking at the time, but in the last 20 years, I've seen a lot of waves ridden like that at Chopu, and I've seen waves ridden better. I've never seen anything this harrowing at Mavericks since.
That's so true. It's funny. At the O Surf Experience in Imswain, Morocco, I was asking one of the guys who worked there, great guy, who, the dudes who grow up in Morocco or grow up around some weird surf village. They just happen to be born there and then somehow get absorbed into it. But they, this is a Moroccan, now he's a Moroccan young man, came from a family of fishermen, had, zero idea or interest or anything about surfing. And so I asked him, he asked me if I had ever, he knew about Nazare. So he asked me if I had ever surfed Nazare. And I said, nope, I have not surfed Nazare. Asked him if he knew about Chopu, and he said no, he had never even heard of Chopu. So I pulled up the Laird. I said, oh well, watch this. That was the first one that came to mind. And watching the Millennium Wave again, it's so baby kind now. Like there's been so many better waves ridden at Chopu, bigger, crazier, not strapped in, all of it, and taking nothing away from Laird's wave. But the level of Chopu has risen. And you're exactly right. The level of Mavericks, this is still peak Mavericks.
Yeah, obviously he didn't complete the ride, so better waves have been ridden at Mavericks. But in terms of, I've never seen a crazier wipeout than that. I mean, thankfully he survived this. We were referencing that he died surfing, but he drowned, and it wasn't this wave. You would think that this wave would kill any mere mortal. So there's been wipeouts that probably were more detrimental for people, and people have died there from wipeouts. But the visuals of this are the most compelling.
Who took that shot again?
I want to say it would be Bob Barber.
Okay. Like from the channel, obviously. But man, what a moment. It's just an iconic moment.
And I brought up Chris Brown, California's Chris Brown wraparound a couple of weeks ago. I'm pretty sure that's Chris Brown in the foreground right there.
Epic. Surfer kind of blew it on this cover by throwing the 60 days that shook the Pacific, Hawaii to California. They should have just let that shot run.
So they also, in this issue, I received this issue when it first came out. They also had a big pull-out poster in the middle without all these graphics on it. So I had that poster on my wall for a long time.
Man, they should have, come on, whoever was graphic designing Surfer back then, blowing it.
So this looks like it was May 1995. But man, again, let's do a stack ranking at some point of the greatest cover shots of all time.
What else is in your memory that you can think?
I can't. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Timmy Curran.
Which cover was that? Oh, where he's got his hands wide at G-Land?
Yeah.
Was that G-Land or Cloudbreak maybe?
Cloudbreak, I think.
That was an epic one.
Yeah.
For sure. This one may be a little past the heyday of the magazines, but Todd Glazer cover of Greg Long getting barreled, dropping in, kind of backdooring a giant barrel section somewhere in Central California, riding kind of a pink board. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. Oh, should we user submit this one? Like, should we do the definitive best covers of all time?
It's on the list of 100 other things that we should do that are great ideas that we won't ever execute.
But I feel that people will send them in, and you and I could discuss a cover each episode.
Okay.
And either put it into consideration of greatest covers of all time or reject it.
Yeah, I like it. That would give a little a new segment that we could do.
And a new surf segment that the people seem to want.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, worth just shining a light on the photographers who got those cover shots because it's a thing of the past now.
Completely. And it's like, yeah, I mean, those moments that come together, right? Where it is both the surfer putting him or herself in some crazy position and the photographer who's in the exact right position to capture it. It's a real pas de deux, a real dance between the two.
I'm going to try to look it up right now. I know you won't even think about this one, but Surfer's Journal had a cover of Toots. Do you know that longboarder Toots on the South Shore?
Vaguely.
Arthur Toots on Chingues, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He is just this incredible longboarder around Waikiki. And like very distinct look. Like he's got a bunch of super dark skin, but has a bunch of tattoos, super fit. The Surfer's Journal had him on a cover shot, and it like looks like this classic. He's actually not Hawaiian, but he looks like this classic Hawaiian perched on the nose with the backdrop of Waikiki in the background. That I thought was an absolutely compelling cover.
Yeah, so I love that the Surfer's Journal is still, every single Surfer's Journal issue, I'm still curious. Oh, what's the cover going to be?
Yeah, I'm going to pull up this photo real quick.
It's got to be pressure if you're Surfer's Journal. Who is the photo editor there these days?
Photo editor? I'm not sure.
It's got to be a lot of pressure knowing that people are going to get this, and this is the cover of the Surfer's Journal, which needs to signify each and every issue.
Look at this shot.
Oh, that's epic. That was a cover of the journal?
So as I was talking, I was also Googling. It turns out this didn't make the cover. The cover shot was a different shot, but this was in that magazine.
Tony Heff.
Yeah, Tony Heff. You were asking about the photo editor of the Surfer's Journal. I'm gonna look it up right now because we should know this. Grant Ellis is still it.
Wow, great. Love it. I thought Grant Ellis moved on, but Grant Ellis is a classic character. Sorry, Grant, for not giving you your flowers straight out of the gate.
I'm embarrassed that I just didn't know it off the top of my head, but I agree with you. I thought that he had moved on.
Yeah.
No, this is the current issue with Eitan Osborne. Speaking of covers.
Oh, that one. Put that one up. I haven't seen this cover yet. Beautiful cover.
Yeah, it's a great cover, but again, like I've seen a lot of Eitan. I feel like I've seen this image from Eitan before, so it didn't like...
It didn't wow you.
Yeah, it didn't wow me.
I mean, you can't wow everyone all the time. It's a hard track record, Grant Ellis. Don't take it personally.
Grant is amazing.
Yeah,
So
he's super amazing.
I'm also in the middle of an email exchange with Sean Parkin, who literally email came through while we were talking. And so I know he was with the Surfer's Journal before, and I didn't want to get it wrong if he was still or wasn't still. So I'm glad we verified that. Do you want a Veyer tools to live by?
Sure do. Veyer took me all the way through Morocco. Oh, I forgot last time, just on one Veyer note here, phenomenal watch, trustworthy. But somebody said or called in the other day with their Veyer and said, you know, with digital watches that they, it's a pain to change a digital watch, right? You have to press 1,000 different buttons and blah, blah, blah. And I nodded along. I was like, yeah, which is true. It's a pain to change. But the best part about wearing a watch, any watch, this is not just a digital V analog, but my Veyer watch, I always keep my watch when I'm traveling on home time because you have your phone in your pocket 9 times, or you can always find local time very easily. If not your phone, you just know what time it is, but nobody ever knows what time it is back home. And it's the best to travel with a watch purely so you know what time it is back home.
Totally agree. I do that same exact thing.
Yep.
Keeps you connected so that when you and I need to record a podcast, you don't have to do any math. You're just
I know exactly what time it is. Yep.
Exactly. How funny is it that banks put the time out front?
Yeah.
Like on their digital readout, they still, I mean, for the ones that still have that digital readout, they still put the time there.
Yeah. Odd.
Bizarre. They could do better things with that. Okay, VeyerWatches.com/Surf Splendor to save 15%. And here we've got a query from a listener. Dear DLS and Chaz, leaving the beach one day this winter, I'm walking back towards the parking lot and a woman with a brand new longboard, well, what used to be called a freshie, ran up to me and asked, hey, odd question, but do you have a leash string? Responding to my puzzled look, she elaborated, I got a brand new board and I bought wax and a leash, but I forgot the leash string. End quote. I actually put in an attempt to remove my leash string for her. The darn thing was on pretty tight and required a tool to pull it off. So I told her just to follow me to the parking lot and I would hand over a new leash string. I keep extras in my car. I told her so, and her eyes went wide. She had never considered that you could just stockpile those things. Quote, I said, I just always keep extras and pay it forward. We are square. Go ahead and enjoy your new surfboard, end quote. I was a little bit shocked that she had never considered this. I wondered if others do this. I actually keep a small sample of things on hand in my car. I learned this the hard way by losing a contact lens and a closeout I was fighting through, and I had to drive home blind. What's your guys' gear toolkit in your cars? I figured this would be a good tools to live by. What junk do you keep in your trunk? Keep work, Eric in SB.
Eric, thank you for your service, because you are the kind of person, I feel there's two people in this world, cross, surf, non-surf. The people who have and the people who never have. And the people who have, like, it's wonderful symbiosis between them, right? Because the people who have get good feelings from being havers and being able to share, right? Like, you have talked about your neighbor with all the tools. I think that was over on Noble Rot.
Yeah.
You have a neighbor with a lot of tools who loans them out to you when you need a tool, right? He's a haver. You are a non-haver. Perfect, beautiful relationship. He gets good feelings and to share. You get a good feeling and get to use it. So I am a taker, not a haver when it comes to, maybe surprisingly to everyone. But yeah, are you a haver or a taker?
What do you think?
You're a taker for sure, but I could see an accidental little stash of something in the back of your station wagon.
No, I'm a haver for sure. I'm
Okay,
shocked that you
good.
thought I was a taker. I've got it's all very well organized. I've got a Tupperware. Yeah, I've got a Tupperware bin, and then within it, smaller Tupperware containers. I've got a pouch for wax. I've got a pouch that has sunblock in it, ding tape, which, by the way, I know I realize not everybody has ding tape. They make this little roll of clear but really thick tape that you can use instead of a sticker to patch a ding real quick. Fin keys or fin ratchet, I've got both. Fins, of course. I have a Leatherman, like a little Swiss Army knife type Leatherman thing, because if your leash string is too tight or something, or a piece of a fin, if it breaks off and there's a piece of a fin that's still stuck in the box, you need a tool to get it out. And then also a recommendation that a listener gave years ago now, which is called Fidlock, which is the little key pouch that you can bring in your wetsuit with you. If your wetsuit if you have like a electronic key fob that you can't keep in your wetsuit, but you can't leave it in the car because it always triggers or allows the car to be opened. That little Fidlock bag is what it's called. Fidlock bag that's magnetically sealed that you could bring in your wetsuit with you. I keep one of those handy too.
Man, see, sorry for branding you a taker. That's why you and I are a great team. I feel the taker-haver combo is one for the ages.
The thing is, to your point of there's one and the other, I stock a lot of that just for other people.
Precisely. You don't need all that for yourself. And if there was no takers out there, you would just go through life with a boot full of stuff that just sat there.
Yeah, exactly. Wax melting constantly.
Yeah.
Those the leash string, one of the cheapest things on the planet, but when you need one, you'd be willing to pay $20 for it. So why not just keep 5 of them?
What have you used in your day have you ever cut your board short string?
I don't think I've ever needed to.
Okay, you've always had.
I've had moments of panic where I'm like, oh my God, do I have a leash string? But then I always find one.
I've done shoelace. I've done board short, cut a piece of the board short string. What else have I done? I've done a lot of different versions of, the leash string. Leash. Yeah.
I'm shocked that woman, usually if you buy a new leash, it comes with a leash string.
So maybe she was not usually 100% of the time. I wonder if she either didn't know that it was right there, attached already, or if she somehow opened all her leash and was like, what's this? They left a string on my leash. Got rid of it.
Or used that leash on a different board and left the string in the other board, maybe.
That's weird, though.
Yep. All right. Well, anyways, good advice, Eric and SB. Anybody out there listening, it's easy to do. Pack a little pouch that you keep in your car with you. You'll always have what you need.
And you're perpetually the cool person. That's the thing. Like, I was trying to think of what bonus the haver gets by being a haver. You get the bonus of being the cool person. Because when you go to somebody and they have what you need, all of a sudden their stock is well up.
Absolutely. And like he said, just pay it forward.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you learned from me. Now you go teach somebody else. We'll all have leash strings in this future perfect world.
Be a haver.
All right. Well, let's go to commercial break and we'll come back with a hot Bethany Hamilton take and then some barrels or Nas. All right, Chaz Smith, welcome back to the show.
Oh, yeah. Isn't it weird, David Lee Scales, how travel to wrecks you? Travel home is always fairly easy.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. How long? Well, I don't find that to be true. I think it matters which direction you're traveling.
That's what they say, but I feel like I've done both directions lots, right? I've gone Australia plenty of times. I've gone Europe plenty of times. I feel like the travel to, and maybe it's part of the anticipation of, and so you're already, and the preparation of getting ready to go. That's probably what it is. I stumbled on the answer right there. It's like the days before, and especially the day of, like sweating, getting, making sure you have all the house stuff in order, all the whatever in order, everything in order. So you're getting on the plane going to already exhausted. You're getting on the plane coming home, like either, in whatever state you're in, but not like the emotional, mental stress of preparing a home.
Well, your travel was also bisected by Father's Day, interrupted by, so aligned with, I should say.
33 hours of Father's Day is what I had.
I know. So you wrote an article on Beach Grit about it, and how did you spend it, and did anybody celebrate you?
No, so I spent it on a plane the whole time. The haul was a lot less than it normally is. I don't even think I got the compulsory Instagram from the wife. I saw yours from your wife, which was very poignant and beautiful. I just thought it was a very well curated, well crafted carousel that you got from Lauren. So give my cheers to Lauren for your Father's Day post. But no, I got what I recounted it in the story. I got a sign at Charles de Gaulle wishing me happy Father's Day, wishing all the fathers happy Father's Day. I got a stewardess giving me a little Delta airline keychain bottle opener as their Father's Day gift. Happy Father's Day. And I was thinking about that a little bit. I was like, man, the keychain bottle opener is really a mixed metaphor there. You're really asking people to drink or drive. It's not like, hey, we know you like Coke in a bottle a lot. We know that you're one of those Sprite in a bottle kind of dudes. So here's for when you're driving and you get that Sprite. Like, it's only for beer and it's on a keychain. Like, it's kind of weird. But in any case, I got that. Funny. I got two stewardesses, happy Father's Day-ing me. But on the second stewardess, the daughter was already ahead. Like, she had got ahead of me getting on the plane. And so there's no reason that she would have thought I was a father. So then I was thinking, wait, you're saying happy Father's Day to every dude who is of father's age. But that's all I got. Man, no, she should have given you at least a beer with the keychain. Nothing. I got no free drinks. No, I mean, I didn't have to pay for drinks, but I got nothing extra.
Bummer, man.
But it was like, it was good. It was great just to, Father's Day came and went.
With an extra, what?
9 hours.
9 hours in it.
Yeah, yep. Daughter was cool. Daughter was like, I think a little extra good behavior because of Father's Day.
That's good. Well, I told you, hot Bethany Hamilton take. This came from a listener email. I'm going to read it to you, but I'm always a little apprehensive to point directly at a business and question their product, but it is what it is. Sometimes it's worth discussing. The email just said, Yeah, the email just said shark bands, and or as the header and the title, and then the email says, "I see that Bethany Hamilton is using Instagram to hard push the product in pink, leveraging off the increase in recent shark attacks. I find it astounding considering that shark bands belonged to an ill-fated San Francisco triathlete, and it was found in the shark's belly. Work, Adam."
Yeah, weird. It's the Bethany Hamilton one is bizarre.
So I understand doing a brand partnership and, of course, promoting the brand's product. That is understandable. It's a weird thing where the best way to market your product is when people get killed by a shark. And seeing that as a marketing opportunity to be like, okay, now's the time to start pumping out those ads to remind people that our product is designed to, scare away sharks or whatever it does. But to Adam's point, does it? Because it was found in the belly of a shark.
I mean, this whole thing, I'm surprised, to be quite honest. I think the jury is still clearly there is more science behind this than power balance. Remember how great power balance was? Those brief couple years where they were like flooding money into the various, skate, surf, all of it. Like there was athletes making a living on the power band dollar. Like they were a Red Bull-esque kind of, because it was a category that was unfilled and they paid good. And obviously got sued out of existence because it was all, but I guess there must be enough science where shark bands doesn't get sued out of existence.
Not yet. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've never looked into the science or what science they are using to back their marketing. But it's one thing when the company is doing it. It's another thing when the athlete now has those questions and is still promoting it.
I mean, yeah, if Shark Bands came to you and said, David Lee, we're looking for a new brand ambassador, would you jump on no matter what? Or would you think, I need to look into this more?
I think back 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, this makes sense. Now that people have died wearing them, and in this example, the person who died was wearing it at the time and it was found in the shark's belly, I think that would give me a lot more pause.
Would it be one of those things for you though, of maybe in the off chance it does work, it's worth it. It's not gonna attract sharks.
That's true. It's not going to attract sharks. I don't think that's enough. In the off chance that it does work, that's not enough reason to promote it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Unlike Power Balance, I guess, and even Power Balance, I felt was a totally benevolent, right? That seemed like one of those things. If you believe this thing gives you better balance, then maybe the belief is all you need, right? It's a pure, what's it called? The pill that you take, the
Placebo,
a pure placebo effect thing there. It's all fine and good, right? But maybe the shark bands is a placebo effect too. If you need the placebo to go out surfing, if you're worried about sharks and you think, this is just the blankie I need to go surf, then I would feel fine promoting it.
Look, again, I don't want to disparage anybody's brand or product or brand. So by all means, do your own research, go check them out and see if it makes sense and works for you. For me, I'm not really that afraid of sharks. I mean, sharks are a reality, so it's not for me. Let's put it that way. The question I always had with the Power Balance, never looked into the science. It was just a practical concern of mine, is that it's a bracelet you wear on one arm.
Yeah.
And I was like, how does wearing one thing on one arm balance your whole body? Don't you need two bracelets? If you were telling me to put both bracelets on each hand, maybe I'd listen to your next part of your pitch. But the idea that one arm is going to balance everything out for you seemed bizarre.
I think the hologram was theoretically sent some kind of magnetic something through your body, that all you needed was one. But bad marketing on their part too. They should have come up with that early on of wait, we could double the sales on this thing instantly.
First of all, heck yes. And then I would also say, look down at their ankles. Those things look barren. Now you need to wear 4.
I mean, boom, 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 quadruple. You and I should bring it back.
How about a choker? Let's just make a what's a 5?
5-part, a quintet.
Quintet. of power bands is. Okay, moving on. Barrel or not? Came in from a listener. Letting teenagers have service jobs. I love surfing San Onofre, and occasionally I stop by local spots in San Clemente to get a drink or a meal, etc. I feel like every time I go to a standard restaurant, not something fancy, it's run by children. I have stood in line watching orders get screwed up before my turn, only to have my order taken incorrectly by some bonehead. I stopped by a bookstore recently and I asked about a book I'm looking for, and the young woman had half a headphone set on and looked confused and pointed to her headphones to signal that she couldn't hear me because she was busy listening to something. I stared at her until she realized that she was probably supposed to answer customers' questions. Anyway, I'm old now and I know how to work. I'm old now and I know how to work at a store, restaurant, hell, even a corporation. I sucked at jobs when I was 15, but damn, I could take an order. I think we might want these kids to start on something easier to understand, like manual labor. I don't know where grit comes from, but it's not being served up around here. Thank God I'm a transplant. If I grew up out here, I would never have had to lift a finger. I'm sure I'd be useless. Work it, Joe.
Joe. So the barrel or not is
letting teenagers have service jobs.
Yeah, I'm going to say big barrel. I'm going to say getting orders screwed up and whatnot. That's like a small price to pay for at least kid is out working.
I think he's saying go put them on manual labor. If they can't even interact, if they can't even do their job correctly, have them slurry pavement or pick up trash.
Yeah, I mean, totally. And I guess if you are the store owner or shop owner or, restaurant owner, whatever it is, then, if you're losing customers but that's on them, right? If that's not on the kid doing a bad job, that's on the employer hiring bad workers.
Well, but I think him using Southern California as an example, I think is really, really accurate because that is the standard experience now, is that all of the employees are inept. And a lot of them are teenagers who are inept. And so I think if you cannot do your job, like going out to eat at any level, even at a fast food level, is a luxury. And so if you're a customer and you're using your hard-earned money to purchase into this luxury experience and the person can't get your order right and has no please and thank you, like common courtesy type stuff, then it erodes the entire luxury of going out. And I guess in Southern California, it's now just, they're not going to lose business because if you go to a different Chick-fil-A, it's equally as bad there, so you have no other option. But I hate that this is the place where society is.
Man, though, I'll tell you who somehow, in some way, and maybe it's just a high starting salary or hourly, In-N-Out somehow fully bucks this whole entire thing of, have you ever gone into an In-N-Out and had poor service from a teenager?
No, I've never had poor service, and it's always with a smile, and they've always gotten my order correct.
Exactly. Like In-N-Out has the Statue of Liberty for crappy teenagers out front that says, bring me your brain addled, bring me your silly bumpkins yearning to actually learn how to work.
Well, and I use Chick-fil-A as an example, which I shouldn't have because they actually do a good job with their employees too.
Yeah, totally. I feel the ones that are bad are kind of the mom and pop ones where it's the cool place to work for the kid. But then I feel those ones, their business is usually other kids too. And so it's the kids go and get served by the cool kid or whatever. It feels like that's the scene, right? And so maybe dear writer inner, that's the problem. Maybe he's going to businesses in San Clemente that he shouldn't be going to, that he's aged out of.
See, I think he's correct though, is San Clemente is a different class of teenager that is entitled, that does not care, that even if they get fired, it doesn't matter. Their car is still going to get paid for.
San Clemente is egregious in many, many ways. And I think that's what this is. This is a symptom of San Clemente.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or San Clemente adjacent. But San Clemente is worse. San Clemente is way worse than the entitlement in San Clemente is way worse than what kids are in North County, San Diego, I will say.
Yeah, I think so too. So he's on to something there, but I had service jobs when I was a teenager, but I took them for whatever reason, took them very seriously and had great pride with them and really wanted to do a great job at the job, you know? So I think that there is, and maybe I'm a reflection of, I don't know that every employee was like me, but I feel like there was definitely more pride in our job when I was a teenager than there is for teenagers now.
Yeah, but picture me as a teenager working.
What was your first job?
Stocking. It was like a company that stocked vending machines, and I think I had to do inventory or something, so it was not forward facing. And I think I might have quit after. I think it was like I can't remember. I either quit or got fired fairly quickly.
I know we've had this conversation before about first jobs. That was a fun road to go down.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Joe. I'm going to say it's barrel to let your teenagers have service jobs, but the employer needs to run their business like in and out.
Fire them.
Because I did learn a lot and I was humbled a lot. And I think the act of servitude is really, really good for when you're a teenager.
Fire early, fire often, though, employer.
Yeah. Next barrel or not, I'm going to play a listener line call. I don't know that he actually gives you a specific barrel or not in his call, but I will give it to you at the end of the call.
Oh, man. I don't know if this is a barrel or not. Oh, shin. Freaking Hamnet, man. I've got a 2-year-old son who's blonde. My wife and I went and saw it in the movie theater. Yeah, classic. Just cried most of the damn time. I mean, it was cathartic. But barrel or not, you know, it was just too real. My wife's like, he doesn't look that much like him. He looks close enough to him, man. But, yeah, barrel or not, freaking Hamnet. What? Oscar bait? I don't know. Where's your barrel or not? Because do I need it? Maybe. I don't know. Cheers, guys.
I've got the barrel or not.
I love it. I love it. The Hamnet barrel or not. It's pretty epic. Hamnet is a barrel.
Yes, of course. So for listeners who don't listen to Noble Rot, we had a conversation over there about the film Hamnet. So that listener was referencing that. But barrel or not, crying as an adult male.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So here, if it's your thing, no barrel. If you are the weepy guy, if somehow everyone knows, don't get started on emotional talk or old David Lee over there, the waterworks are going to start up, right? And some people just have a propensity for crying. If you are an adult male, I'm sorry. You've got to lock down. You've got to lock down for your children, for society, for everyone. Excuse yourself if you're a crier. Hide it if you're a crier. Give yourself an internal pep talk of gearing up and not letting the tears flow, because the weepy adult man, I feel, negates. It's like when a man cries, it should be poignant and powerful. It should be a moment. If you're a weepy dude, you're just a weepy dude. Like none of those, like the bar is not being risen or leveled up, right? It's just, it's a cry. That's a cryy guy.
You cried at Hamnet though, didn't you?
Absolutely. But that was the one, like, I'm going to say as an adult male, you get 3 cries a year. Use them well.
Yeah. 3 cries. I thought you were going to say 3 cries in adulthood, but no, 3 a year I think is a fair number.
You get 3 a year, use them well, and hide one of them.
Well, look, this relates to our claiming your waves conversation earlier, which is you don't even get to pick them. But you only get 3. And so when a family member dies and it comes out unelicited, then that's okay, you know, or whatever it happens to be. But if you're picking them, you're like, I got 3 left and it's already December. I'm going to go ahead and watch a movie that makes me cry. Be a bad choice.
Some days you're really tired, right? You're like emotionally spent. You're drained. You've got nothing else to give. Like, or, you know, you're just in that state. You're in a very frail, fragile state. And you open up the Instagram and you scroll and it's America's Got Talent. And it's the person who sings really, really good that looks like they don't sing good. and you feel the tears start welling up, knock that off. Knock it off. Do not cry over America's Got Talent. Man.
Susan Boyle.
Yeah.
I hate to admit it, but I got weepy-eyed 2 times since I saw you last.
About what?
Toy Story 5.
See, that's when you gotta button it down, right? Like, I know I would probably get weepy too at Toy Story 5, but that's when you go inside yourself and say, David Lee Scales, do not let that tear roll down your cheek. You keep that inside.
So good news, I don't think it rolled down my cheek. I just got weepy-eyed and like quivery, but I was like in the darkness of the movie theater, and I was able just to like maintain a focus and look forward and hope that my son doesn't look at me or my wife, and just
Exactly.
like, yeah. And thankfully nobody did. But then later when we were driving home, my wife was like, yeah, I got teary-eyed. And I'm like, which scene was it? And it was the same exact scene.
I mean, it is important. Like, the tears do come. That's what I'm saying, is you are emotionally fragile. We're all emotionally fragile. You're only allowed to let 3 show, though. Like, you got to fight the rest down, do whatever it takes not to be seen. And if you get seen, straight up lie. Say, oh, man, I had something in my eye.
I'll tell you.
I was holding a sneeze.
What about, okay, what if, I agree with you, 3 is a good number. But what if in 2025 I only use 2? Do I get a rollover credit to the next year where I can use 4? Because maybe you have a rough year with a bunch of grandparents who pass away.
Nope, because then you're a weepy man. Like, you only get, I feel getting branded as a weepy man, it's hard to come back from that, right? Like, let's say you pocketed, you cried once, pocketed 2, you cried 5 times the next year. You're at a party with Lauren, and Lauren's going to introduce you, and the conversation's going to get around, and she's going to say, I just love it. David Lee has no problem crying. And then now all of a sudden you're branded as Cry Man.
Well, the other problem is you don't want it to become habitual. If you use 5 in 2026, now your body is wired in such a way that 2027's coming. You're probably going to bust out another 5, maybe 6.
And now you are Weepy Dude.
Yeah.
You cannot be Weepy Dude.
All right. I'm going to try to work on myself. Make sure I don't watch any emotional films for the rest of the year. Hamnet, you're getting pushed back on second viewing until next year. Do you find yourself getting weepier the older you get?
Yeah, particularly as it relates to like daughter growing kind of stuff.
Yes.
I got to lock that down.
Yeah, that's exactly for me too. Like, I probably had gone a decade in my life, literally without crying, long spans of time, And then as I've gotten older, that just keeps getting shorter and shorter and shorter. It's tough. Okay, final barrel or not. Using Father's Day or Mother's Day to get time away from your kids.
Absolute barrel. And I think people should not be shy about this. Like, the put upon, like, people should use Father's and Mother's Day. You have a bonus birthday here, right? Is essentially what it is. They're great. Like, I used to be kind of anti Hallmarky Father's Mother's Day, but I've realized, no, I'm still anti Valentine's Day. I'm anti a lot of these, whatever, Hallmark holidays. Having one bonus day where you get to play it the way you want. So if you want to be with your family, if say you work a lot or whatever, or you're away from your family a lot, and you think, hey, this is my day, there would be nothing that I would like more than a family beach day, something like that. It's your day. You get to decide. If you think, I've been with you guys for too long, this is my time, I'm doing me today, go do you today. It's a straight up bonus day that you get to spend however you wish, if you're a mother on Mother's Day or a father on Father's Day.
I got to say, too, I think that the rest of the family would be totally cool with it. If mom wants to go have a spa day and she's gone all day, it's kind of like, sweet. Not that you're going to have a party because mom's gone, but it's kind of like now we get to do whatever we want to do that mom doesn't want to do, Or same thing goes when dad goes golfing all day or to surfing or whatever it is. It's like, gives you guys a free pass.
Absolutely. I am all for it. I saw on Instagram the other day that was fairly fun. It was Mother's Day, and it was like some dude playing both roles, so dressed up like a mom, just like rolling around on the ground, like just having the best time with a mimosa or like a bottle of champagne and a bottle of orange juice, just laughing hysterically and getting showered with cards and stuff like that. And then it was Father's Day, and it was him lonely by the grill, just standing all by himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I saw this meme yesterday. It said, "It dawned on me today that when my son wants to talk about Pokemon, he doesn't really want to talk about Pokemon. What he wants is to share his excitement and knowledge. What he wants is to bond with his dad. What he wants is quality time together." Still a hard no.
That's really good. Man, I feel that that's a thing, not to make too broad a generalization, but that's a struggle for the boy dad more than the girl dad. I feel boys nerd out on dinosaurs, Matchbox cars, Pokemon, like nerd out on stuff that I've never had to like be interested in any of that stuff.
Yeah, for me or for Austin, it's number blocks.
Yeah.
Did you guys have number blocks?
Nope.
So it's all math oriented, but they're little block figurines that you add to one another, like to learn math. But man, he is so hardcore into it, and it's a good thing. It's like there could be worse things, but
It's exhausting.
dude, randomly all day, every day, he's like, "Dad, what's 13 plus 4?" I'm like, and I don't want to like not answer the question because it's educational, but we're like Lauren and I are in the middle of an important discussion, like deep in the thick of it. He'll just be like, Dad. And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "What's 22 plus 47?" I'm just like,
I don't care.
"Hold on, Lauren, let me think this one through." And then I deliver the answer and he's like, "Oh, okay. Well, then what's 47 plus 42? And I'm just like, dude, it's like the one thing that I can't not answer. With anything else, I'd be like, "Hey, hold on a second. Don't forget, you have to say excuse me before you interrupt." But also, like, that can wait. I'll talk about that later. But when it's math, I'm like, I got to answer the question because like, I want to stimulate his curiosity about math and help him learn. I can't shut him down,
That is very, very funny. Yeah, but I feel that, oh man, girl life, easy that way. Girl life is a tough in very many other ways, but very easy in not obsessing over, nerd stuff.
All right. Well, listeners, we'll keep tabs on girl life versus boy life as we hit teenage years and beyond, and we'll keep you posted on how this all pans out.
Keep those tears inside the whole time too, except for 3.
Well, thanks, Vayer Watches. We love you for all your support. We didn't mention it, but drinkag1.com/surf as well. I've been adding something to mine, Chaz.
What? Have you been adding bubs?
No. I know it's complete. It's a complete product as it is, but I've been adding beetroot.
Oh, nice. Why?
Just because I've long known the benefits of beetroot, and I feel like I see it often, just like beetroot's like this wonder, superfood basically. And so I bought it in a powder form, and I'm like, what do I drink this with? I don't want to have to go through the process of making a smoothie every day. But I'm like, 8 ounces of water with AG1, throw some beetroot in there. It's fantastic.
Perfect. I mean, AG1, if you're doing that already, AG1, I feel that's the stack on. I mean, I do all my whatever vitamin-y thing I do alongside my AG1 because I'm already doing it. So might as well do the rest of it now.
Yeah. It's like super duper food at this point. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks listeners. Sorry to keep you waiting over the course of the weekend. We'll be back at the end of this week with a new episode of The Grit and maybe even on Noble Rot. What, tomorrow?
Yeah. You want to do it tomorrow?
I got time.
Boom. Let's do it.
All right. We'll see you on Noble Rot this week as well. But until then.
Keep work.